Hi, my name's Mike Paul, and this is my story on how I beat cancer. First of all, I'd like to start with why am I telling this story. When I got diagnosed with cancer, I maybe didn't have the same reaction as everybody else, which stands to reason because I'm not the same as everybody else. My first reaction was, oh fuck. But then it was, I don't want to die yet. I haven't done what I needed to do. The strange thing was, though I knew that I hadn't done what I needed to do, I didn't know what I needed to do. Strange paradox. However, I started researching fighting cancer. Up until then, I'd lived a standard Western life. For some people, not everyone does this. I went to school, I went to university. I actually messed up big time at university. I drank myself stupid, got kicked out, got back in, went to work in hotels, and then early on I ended up changing to the fitness career. So that was the start of my involvement with health. But even then, I used to joke away my belly and my beer drinking antics with saying, well, I do the fitness so I can do more of this. As time went on, I eventually got what my friends decided to call a proper job, and I worked in an office. Guess what? I put on shed loads of weight. But, you know, I still tried to do the fitness thing. I still kept up with the knowledge, the information, and I eventually went back to university to do sports science, sports rehab. Again, I did a lot better this time, but I couldn't afford to carry on because I hadn't looked into things well enough, and I needed to pay tuition fees this time round. At that stage, it was £5,000 a year. I looked into the possibility of the jobs I could get, and I wasn't going to be able to pay the debt that I was going to build up. So at the end of 2 years, I had to start off taking a year out. I got a job arranged by the university. Shows the difference between how I was first time around. The second time around, I had actually studied harder and done well this time. Got the job and moved on from there. Still believed in hard training, hard work, play hard, work hard, get fit hard, and lots of people thought I was healthy. I moved to Newcastle and got married. We lived apparently a healthy lifestyle. I got a job as a computer programmer, progressed to being a business analyst cum consultant. And this is where the wheels started to fall off a little bit. Certainly, well, maybe they'd fallen off a long time before, and we'll discuss that as in future episodes. But this is where the first symptoms started. So in 2008, I joined CrossFit, Northeast England. Fantastic organisation. We'll talk about fitness, and a lot of people who know fitness will be really anti-CrossFit. What it was back then, what it is now, I don't want to get into that argument, but for me, it was really good and introduced me to a whole range of different things that I just had never considered in health, and I'll talk about that more in another episode. But during these workouts, I started getting these. After the workout, I would get an intense pain for a few seconds right inside my nose. I didn't think much of it at the time, and it would go away after a few seconds, so I thought, hey, what the hell, and I carried on. Around that time, the whole Northern Rock crisis kicked off. That's where I worked. Actually, I think I got my years wrong. I joined CrossFit in 2007, and that's when Northern Rock went pear-shaped. 2008, I was working. We basically, as a company, I worked as a contractor at Northern Rock, or an employee for another firm, and I had to work from home. And I started getting these crushing headaches. It started off as a thing across the back of my skull, across the front, across the side. I didn't know what to do with it. So and phoning up my boss and saying, sorry Andy, I can't work today, I've got a headache. You have no idea, even when it's really true, how fraudulent that feels. People can see a cold, people can see a broken limb, physical illnesses like that on the external can be seen, and it's okay, but headaches, that's a really bizarre one. Anyway, to cut a long story short, I got diagnosed with cancer eventually after leaving my job, going off to a ski season. I'll expand on that more. But when I came home and I started Googling and fighting cancer, what I read made me very angry. Everything I believed, everything I taught over the space of the next year or two changed dramatically. I'd been professionally trained in fitness instruction, personal training, etc. And while some of what we learn and that is part of the story, it was very not the whole story. And I looked around the world, I looked at myself, and I thought, I need to tell people this stuff. So that was the first inkling of what I needed, why I'm doing this now. It's actually 8 or 9 years later now, since I've finished my cancer treatment. Why is it taking so long? Well, actually I have been doing this. I've been doing it through my personal training. I went back to personal training and health and movement coaching. I changed very much the way I did things, my emphasis. But because I was working in gyms, I got very disillusioned because of people's perceptions, and people looked at me like I was mad when I would talk about breathing, when I talked about meditation. That's all woo-woo stuff, total rubbish. If it was so good, why aren't we all doing it? So I got frustrated. I wasn't very good at making money, and then a guy I bumped into, Matt Goodman, who became a good friend, he was doing some fantastic work with kids and said, why don't you come and work with kids? You can make a lot of money and really help these kids out at the same time. And I thought, yeah, I'm going nowhere at the moment, and I did. And we seem to have similar philosophies, and on a lot of grounds we do, but like everyone else, we have our differences. So been working away at that for the last 10 months, well, since August last year. But there was always this nagging feeling something wasn't quite right. And actually something I'm going to show you after this is something that Matt introduced me to, a person, and this has been life-changing for me. But when I look back, it explains an awful lot as well. So Matt and I have parted business company at the moment. It wasn't the best of splits at the moment, I'll be honest with that. But Matt, I want to say thank you for what you've introduced me to and the stuff I've learned from you. And I hope we will be talking sooner rather than later. The stuff that has made the big impact on me is a talk by a guy called Simon Sinek called Start With Why. So this is my emotional why for why I'm doing that. That's the background to it. There is a second reason. Working with Matt this last year, I got a lot sicker and iller than I've been since my cancer. Just general stuff. I had bronchitis, I'm unfit, I've put on weight, and after having found myself for a few years, I lost myself again. That's another reason I'm here. But financially, I've left myself in a pretty poor position. But I also believe that for us to be truly content in life, we should be doing what we love, what is true to us. This work in health, well-being, coaching is what makes me happy. The research, the education, the reading, the experiences I've had in beating my own cancer, and that's what I want to share. So I'm not going to lie, I want to make a living out of this. The information I give you will all be free, but I will be offering hopefully the opportunity for people to donate if they wish, if they feel it's useful for them, or if they would like me to do this work. And again, I will explain more about how that is possible in a later episode. Thank you, that's this bit. Stay tuned for the rest.